Hello and welcome to all of viewers in Nigeria and around the world to Meet the News here on Global Television, coming to you live from the nation's capital, Abuja. I am Edika Michael. A quick reminder that Global Television is on DSTV channel 365 and Star Times channel 276. About the details of the news. President Bola Tinubu issued a directive to reduce the size of Nigeria's official delegation to the 79th session of the United Nations General Assembly meetings holding in New York, United States this September. Tinubu's Chief of Staff, Femi Gbajabiamila, revealed the directive in Abuja during a one-day retreat organized by the State House Management for heads of government agencies under its supervision. Addressing participants at the retreat, the Chief of Staff says during recent protests, there were talks about reduction in the costs of governance. Two former governors of Ogun State, Ibukele Hamoshin and Gbenga Daniel, have vowed to support federal government efforts to recover the national assets seized by the French court. In 2007, the Ogun State government entered into a joint venture agreement with Sushans and another company to create Ogun Free Trade Zone Company. But in the first half of 2016, the agreement between the parties broke down, leading to Zungshan's filing lawsuit in Nigerian federal and state court to seek reinstatement of his contractual right, which failed. However, after taking the case before the French court, the company was awarded damages. The court prohibited Nigeria from moving or selling 3 presidential jets until the Chinese firm was paid the sum of $74.5 million awarded by the court. Meanwhile, the management of Chinese firm Zhongshan's Industrial Investment Company Limited says its top officials were unlawfully detained and brutalized by the police during its contractual disagreement with the Ogun State government. The firm says the maltreatment compelled it to seek the seizure of Nigerian assets overseas. The media was informed with the news of the seizure of 3 of Nigeria's presidential jets as ordered by a French court. And now to Bauchi, the ruling People's Democratic Party in Bauchi State has won all 20 local government chairmanship seats in Saturday poll. However, the All Progressive Congress has rejected the result, describing them as robbery. The executive chairman of the Bauchi State Independent Electoral Commission, Ahmed Makama, announced the result last night at his office following the conclusion of the exercise. Makama declared the result, stating it was based on the powers vested in him by the relevant electoral laws as the executive chairman of the State Independent Electoral Commission. The Nigerian Union of Pensioners says some retirees are still receiving 500 naira as the monthly pensions in the country. Secretary of the Union in Kaduna State, Alstan Musa, described the condition of the returnees as pathetic. He said that most of the affected retirees were in precarious conditions, adding that they had sacrificed their lives and services for the nation. And the worst affected are pensioners in most of the southern and oil-producing states, in spite of getting further allocations from the Federation account. Human rights organizations nationwide following the recent hunger protest. Protests which were held between August 1st and 10th turned violent in some parts of the country, with reports of looting and vandalism in several states. The Inspector General of Police, Kayode Abetukun, announced that the police arrested some of the sponsors of rioters who hosted foreign flags and called for change of government in states such as Kano, Kaduna, and Zamfara, among others. The Taraba State Governor, Abu Kavas, has called on the journalists in the country to maximize the use of digital technology to enhance the efficiency of their jobs in a fast-changing media landscape. Kavas made the call while declaring open the 2024 News Summit of the Federal Radio Corporation of Nigeria in Jalingo, the state capital. Represented by his deputy Aminu Alkali, the governor noted that journalists need to embrace the opportunities presented by rapid technological advancement and social media to enhance efficiency in news and information dissemination. The federal government of Nigeria commissioned a 40 kilowatt solar hybrid mini-grid in the community Gwagwalada Area Council within the Federal Capital Territory. This initiative executed through the Rural Electrification Agency under the Rural Electrification Funds called TU program aims to provide clean, affordable and reliable electricity to underdeserved communities in Nigeria. Minister of State for the Federal Capital Authority, Dr. Maria Mahmoud, represented by the Special Advisor Michael Bauer, underscored the project's potential to drive socio-economic transformation in the area. The governor of Gombe State, Muhammadu Yahya, says the state has a standing committee on the new national minimum wage. Recall that last July, the governor questioned the viability of the state paying the newly approved 70,000 naira. Yahya made these known in a press statement signed by the Director General of Press Affairs, Gombe's Government House, Ismaila, following his courtesy call to Vice President Kashim Shettima. Sokoto State Governor Ahmed Aliyu has called on communities in the Gudu local government area to assist the authorities with relevant information, especially intelligence gathering to defeat the bandits terrorizing the area. Aliyu gave the charge while addressing the people of the area who came out to receive him on a thank you visit to the area. He explained that securing the area is a collective responsibility, hence the need for all hands to be on the deck. The Jigawa state government has called on federal government to come to the aid of flood victims in the state, as no fewer than 3,834 persons have been displaced by the disaster. The Executive Secretary of the State Emergency Management Agency, Dr. Haruna Marigo, made the call in Duse, the state capital, while speaking to newsmen on the updates on the flood which ravaged 12 local government areas. He says the call was necessary in order to ameliorate the sufferings and hardship being experienced by the numerous communities in the 12 affected local government area in the state. Members of INEC-accredited observer organizations have called on law enforcement agencies to refrain from harassing law-abiding Nigerians who carried out their legitimate elections duties. Edikan Michael, who was earlier at the press conference, report. The group, convened by Center for Credible Leadership and Citizens Awareness, emphasized the importance of impartiality and neutrality from Independent National Electoral Commission. The convener and Director General of the Center, Nwambu Gabriel, urged security agencies to desist from unjust detaining of voters and public harassment throughout the electoral process.
But all the same, we also believe that notifying the police and other law enforcement agents to be up to their game is our duty as Nigerian citizens. So we are not foreseeing, but what we are saying is that based on the track record, based on the occurrences that have followed the pre-election observation we have done, we believe that Edo State is a place that is known as a flashpoint state.
He further called on judiciary to be guided by the provisions of the Electoral Act 2022 and never to allow their antics of political interfere with their decisions.
There is no other way an election could be conducted as at today, bearing in mind the provisions of the Electoral Act 2022. It is evident that the BVAS technology must be deployed in Edo State, without which there wouldn't be any election. In fact, voting without a BVAS authentication amounts to an offense.
The Edo gubernatorial election is scheduled for September 21st, 2024. Edikan Michael, Global TV. Now, the Edo State chapter of All Progressive Congress has described the claims made by the party chieftain Emmanuel Odigwe that they are planned by Vice President Kashim Shettima and all the top government officials to rig the September 21st governorship election in the state as baseless. Odigwe, a member of the Edo Integrity Group, made the allegation in an interview. IPC chieftain also alleged that part of the party's rigging plan included using the police to intimidate voters on the day of the election. The United Nations has raised an alarm over Nigeria's rising waste generation, saying a significant portion of the wastes remain uncollected and littered open space and drainages. The UN Habitat representative Macy Acheng Saturdays in Ado Ekiti, the Ekiti state capital, at the one-day West-wide Cities 2 training for environmental officers and relevant stakeholders in the state. The program, with the theme Capacity Building for Effective Municipal Solid Waste Management, was organized by the State Ministry of Environment in conjunction with African Clean Cities Platform and West-wide Cities. The Inspector General of Police, Kayode Bertigun, has ordered the deployment of tactical operatives and assets to ensure the prompt rescue of the kidnapped medical student in Benue State. 20 medical students of the University of Maiduguri and just traveling to Enugu were kidnapped along the Otukpa-Enugu Road on Thursday. The students were traveling from the Federation of Catholic Medical and Dental Student Annual Convention in Enugu when they were abducted. Health commissioners from 36 states of the country and the mandate Secretary of Health of the Federal Capital Territory have commended the leadership of Nigeria Center for Disease Control and Prevention in the light of the recent outbreaks of cholera at the mpox. They, however, called for continued support to state the health commissioners under the auspices of the Nigerian Health Commissioners Forum made these known in a communique issued at the end of their third quarterly meeting in Abuja. Director General NYSC Brigadier General Yusuf Hamid has said that 54 corps members from University of Calabar have been demobilized and will be prosecuted by the NYSC management. Hamid, in a statement by Director Information and Public Relations of the Service, Eddie Megwa, vowed that all illegally mobilized corps members from the university will be prosecuted. He said 19 among them who initially registered online for mobilization had been prevented from service, while 4 certificates of national service for other corporate were not produced by the scheme. Meanwhile, the Director General of National Youth Service Corps, Brigadier General Yusuf Ahmed, said that one of the graduates fraudulently mobilized for the scheme by University of Calabar, Cross River State, is a bread seller who did not attend the institution. This is coming on the back of the 101 certificates that were recently awarded by the scheme, making it 178. Ahmed commended the Vice Chancellor of the University of Calabar, Professor Flores Obi, for her forthrightness to have earlier hinted the scheme on the mobilization of unqualified graduates from our institution. He insisted that the scheme will leave no stone unturned in sanitizing its mobilization process. You're watching Midday News, coming to you live from Nigeria's capital. When the Midday News returns, the Nigeria Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority to suspend license of marketers and petrol stations selling to illegal peddlers. Please stay with us on the news. We'll be right back. Many thanks for staying with us on Midday News. Out to business, the federal government says it will start subsidizing electricity in universities and health institutions on the Band A feeders. The Minister of Power, Adebayo Adelebu, disclosed this in Ibadan, Oyo State. Adelebu, however, said the government will not subsidize private businesses operating in these universities and hospitals after the federal government had removed subsidies from customers categorized as Band A and upgraded their daily electricity supply to a minimum of 20 hours daily. Universities and public hospitals cried out that their bills had skyrocketed. The Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority has issued a stern warning to filling stations and fuel marketers against the unlawful sale of premium mother spirit, commonly known as petrol, to illegal roadside peddlers. In a post on X, Andrew, a directive issued after a closed-door stakeholders meeting with major retail outlet managers in the Federal Capital Territory, the warned that non-compliance will lead to the suspension of licenses. The agency stated on its X that filling stations must refrain from supplying fuel for illegal peddlers, warning that failure to comply will result in the suspension of their retail licenses. And now the federal government has approved a proposal to transfer 2.5 billion naira from the Bank of Industry to the Solid Minerals Development Fund. The amount held in the mining sector support the funding assets for indigenous miners by providing more favorable terms. The Minister of Solid Minerals Development, Dr. Dele Aleke, disclosed this during a 3-hour meeting with stakeholders in the mining sector. A statement by the Special Assistant of Media, Shegun Tomari, says the meeting is convened to discuss the recent happenings in the sector, including the recent hike in license fees and its effect. The Federation Account Allocation Committee has distributed a total of 1.358 trillion naira among the federal government, state and local government councils for the month of July. This announcement was made in a communique following the FAC meeting held in August in Abuja. The total distributable fund of 1.358 trillion naira include the statutory revenue amounting to 161.593 billion naira. And our manufacturing company, D7G Nigeria, says its partnership with the Defense Industry Corporation of Nigeria has created jobs for 2,000 civilians and 500 retired military personnel. Speaking at the event in Abuja, the Chief Executive Officer of D7G, Osman Chena, disclosed that the D7G is planning with the DICON the transfer of advanced military technology to Nigeria. Chena listed key performance indicators of the company, including the construction of a military jetty base in Lagos for battling of vessels, with additional area of production, assembly and storage of defense equipment covering a lead area of 160,000 square meters. And out to foreign news, Joe Biden says he is optimistic that his Gaza ceasefire deal can be reached amid the concerns that Iran may launch an attack on Israel for the assassination of Hamas leader Ismaili in the Tehran. Biden said no one in the region should take actions to undermine this process. Hamas has expressed skepticism about the chances of the deal, and without mentioning the possibility of a ceasefire, Israel said it appreciated the effort of the United States and the mediators to dissuade the Hamas from its refusal to a hostage release deal. Doctors in India have begun a national strike, escalating the protests against the rape and the murder of a female colleague in the West Bengal city of the Kolkata. The Indian Medical Association, the country's largest grouping of doctors, says all non-essential hospital services will be shut down across the country. The IMA described the last week killing as a crime of barbaric scale due to the lack of safe spaces for women, and asked for the country's support on its struggle for justice. President Bassirou Faye says Senegal's first satellite has been successfully launched into orbit. He says the move marked a major step towards the West African country's technological sovereignty. Around the Gen5, a satellite was launched at 6:56 p.m. on Friday from the Vandenberg base in California. And to midday sport news, Nigeria's representative in this year's Confederation Africaine, the football champions club competitions in Enugu, Rangers, Remo Stars, Eyimba, and the Warriors will get $50,000 each as participation fees in the preliminary stages of the Champions League and the Confederation Cup Nigerian champions. Enugu Rangers and the runners-up are representing the country in the Champions League, while Eyimba, who finished third in the NPFL and President Federation Cup winners, Warriors, are competing in the Confederation Cup. In a highly charged main event at the UFC 305, South African fighter Dricus retained his middleweight title, defeating Nigeria-born Israel's Adesanya by submission in the fourth round. The grudge match, which had been fueled by the pre-fight tensions over the race and identified, culminated in a dramatic turn of events as the pole places secured the victory with a rear-neck choke. And our Chelsea manager Enzo Maresca has responded to reports linking the club with Napoli striker Victor Osimhen and Atletico Madrid forward João Felix. Maresca was cautious in his comments about the potential transfers while speaking during his first pre-match press conference of the Premier League season ahead of the 2024-2025 Week 1 with Manchester City. The Blues have been heavily linked with moves for both Osimhen and Felix as they look to bolster the attack for this season, with reports suggesting the recently had 45 million euros for Felix rejected by Atletico Madrid. And as a package of Media News coming to you live from Nigeria's capital Abuja, we're on DSTV channel 365 and Star Times channel 276 and free to air at 9 South and its parameters showing on your screen. Kindly follow us on all social media platforms using Global TV NG and other handles now showing on the screen. I'm Edika Michael, and thanks for watching and stay with us. See you again.